Welcome to the Martini Masterclass. This is a 101 course where you're going to learn all the basics to making a martini. We're going to talk about all the decisions you have to make when building a martini, some fun martini variations, and some cool tips and facts. So just tag a martini lover below and let's get started. There's a seemingly infinite number of ways to make a martini. So before we even get started, we're already posed with our first question. Do you want that with gin or vodka? And while gin was the traditional spirit of choice, vodka is the most popular option today. And trust me when I say, you'll never convince a gin martini person that it should be made with vodka or vice versa. So we'll start by adding 2.5 ounces of our spirit of choice, followed by dry vermouth. Dry vermouth is a fortified white wine, and it's responsible for that dry mouth feeling you get when you drink a martini. And it poses question number 2 when making a martini: how dry do you like it? A traditional martini is about 5-to-1 spirit to dry vermouth, or about a half an ounce for every 2.5 ounces of liquor. But this is where people tend to get confused. Asking for your martini dry actually means you want less dry vermouth, not more. And if somebody wants their martini extra dry, I usually just swirl it around in the glass and dump it out, or just skip the dry vermouth altogether. And we're gonna talk about some of the most popular martini variations here in just a second, but first I need to address the next most important question: do you like it dirty, AKA, do you want to add olive brine? A standard dirty martini will get equal parts olive brine and dry vermouth, or in our case, about half an ounce. Extra dirty would get twice as much, or you could take a play out of my book and replace some of the olive brine with pickle juice. But I think it is important to note that most people who like a dirty martini actually like it without the dry vermouth at all. And now it's time to chill our martini, but before we do that, we have to ask ourselves one more very important question. Do we want our martini shaken or stirred? And what's the difference anyways? Stirring is a great way to chill and incorporate a cocktail without adding any unwanted air or dilution. Shaking a cocktail, on the other hand, is going to add more dilution from the ice, make your cocktail colder, and it's going to give it a lighter, airier texture. And now it's time to pour our martini into a traditional martini glass, or you may opt for the more modern coupe glass. Just make sure you always serve it in a chilled glass. And a little fun fact, the martini glass is very much an intentional design. The wide opening at the top helps you take in more of the aroma before you drink the cocktail, as well as creating more of a surface area, which actually helps keep your cocktail colder for longer. And now we can discuss the next most important part of a martini: the garnish. You might order your martini with a twist, which just means you want an expressed lemon peel as the garnish. Or you could order a Gibson martini, which just means it's going to be garnished with a small pickled onion. But we made a dirty martini, so I'm going to garnish it with either 1 or 3 olives. Using an odd number of olives is old bartender superstition, but it really is so prevalent that you're guaranteed to get some weird looks if you don't use an odd number of olives. And here's 4 of the most popular martini variations. A perfect martini combines gin or vodka with equal parts dry and sweet vermouth. A Vesper martini, as made popular by James Bond, uses both gin and vodka, but replaces the dry vermouth for a sweeter, more floral fortified wine called Lillet Blanc. The Martinez, which is likely the older sibling of the modern martini, uses a sweeter variation of gin called Old Tom Gin, along with sweet vermouth, maraschino liqueur, a dash of Angostura bitters, and gets garnished with an orange peel. And of course, there's a ton of other more modern martini recipes, like everybody's favorite espresso martini, which really aren't like traditional martini recipes at all. But that doesn't take away from the fact that most of them are still delicious. And if you're interested in some of those recipes, you can find most of them on my page. So no matter how you enjoy your martini, if you found this helpful, do me a favor and tag a friend below to tell them